Good morning. Oh, well, I guess good evening for you, Alessandro.
Hello, hello. Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. How are you doing? You're in Milan, correct?
Uh, it's very strong period for everybody who does, you know.
It is, yes.
So as for that, it's a good opportunity to talk about our world
It
to
is very
you.
much so, and to
Yeah.
allow people to understand better Culti. We've been retailing Culti at Secret Location for over 7 years now. So you have a great following within our clientele, and they very much appreciate your products.
Yeah, great. I use this period, a very dramatic period, to stay very close to all people that I love, all my affect, my friends, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to have a very special view for the future, for the next future that will be very, very difficult for everybody. But at the same time, we have to be very positive on it.
We
But
have to
at the
be
same time,
optimistic.
yeah, optimistic and at the same time to make some real things.
Hmm.
And for that is that I came back in this period in 1988 when I've created this brand, Culti stand for culture, and in this 30 years, I invested all my energy, all my time to create something that is very unique, and also at the same time is something that is so special under the name Be Different.
Hmm.
I live in a wonderful country, Italy,
Very
and
beautiful.
me,
It's one of my
as,
favorites.
yeah, and as Italian, as a designer and the nose, I tried to create something very new, very special 30 years ago. So
Hmm.
I tried to start from some fundamentals of our Italian culture.
Hmm.
For example, starting from fashion and food and style. So I decided as a nose and not chemical to create a new way to produce fragrances in a natural way.
So, if
What?
I may ask, Alessandro, what inspired you? I'm guessing it was during your time doing interior design that you felt that there was
Yeah.
a lack, and perhaps you can elaborate on what makes Culti special and different in comparison to other fragrance lines.
Yeah, so consider that, like I told you before, Italian stands on very special things, and the nature is all around us.
Hmm.
We are the best place of the world. People for all over the world come to Italy for holidays to visit Italy, from history and to culture to everything. And
Hmm.
I live in the nature, and I try to be inspired every day by the nature.
Hmm.
And it's for that I'm creating the new way to produce new and modern fragrances
Hmm.
using just a few ingredients, only natural ingredients, very special raw materials, and combining them in a very simple and in excellent way without make a lot of big composition. I'm not using anyways chemical,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the nature inspired me also 30 years ago when I've created the first room diffuser, the first
The reed diffuser, yes.
reed diffuser. Yes, sure. So I have created the first bottle, and
And
I've been.
what inspired you?
Yeah.
Did you have a moment that you were inspired? What allowed you to come to this
Yeah.
invention?
Sure. If you look at the nature, like me, from when I was young, were young, I try to see. I started from the idea of the plants that
Okay.
connect the life of everybody. If you
Mm-hmm.
think about a big tree, a tree that take energy from the earth, the energy go through the wood, arrive
Mm-hmm.
to the leaves, and the leaves transform the energy in oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same way that I use more than 30 years ago to create the first way to diffuse fragrances in a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
And also now, after 30 years, we are always the company that provide to do this in a very single way, because there's no other possibility to do things if you don't consider this kind of quality, of
Mm-hmm.
materials, of
Of
simplicity.
the reed itself.
Yeah, sure. And that consider that uh, I take more than 5 years to do one fragrance for me, for Culti. You can
Mm-hmm.
imagine how it's difficult to create a good fragrances
Mm-hmm.
because of the safety, because of a lot of no compromise that we need to use. But consider that you live, you sleep, you work under fragrance control. So if we don't choose the right connection with the fragrance, maybe we can have mistakes. That's the reason for which Culti has created the Culti mixology. That is a way to combine all the fragrances of the
Together.
collection just in one fragrance. It means that you can create every day your own path, your
own
own smell path,
combination.
you know, because like the plants, like I told you before, you know, the connection of the nature is the same that you can have it, you can obtain in your home. Because you can connect your kitchen, your bedroom, your living room using different fragrances, but Culti could guarantee that you mixing also the fragrances, you can obtain always a special fragrance.
A
For
harmony
example,
of sorts.
yeah, for example, now we are in spring. I'm using this period the leaves of tea with a special rose, and this combination is very delicate, it's very fresh, okay? And
So
this is my
you're
favorite.
very inspired in this period. So we perhaps will see some new fragrances soon.
Yes, sure. You know, you transmit a lot of energy, you know, and so we need to sometimes to understand and to choose the fragrance regarding our character, our soul, our moments. So we cannot buy a fragrance just because we love this bottle. We need to understand exactly the experience that we can do, because to maintain the quality of our life, we need to write and to use the right smell, because it can change totally the quality of your life.
So would you say it has a big impact on your mood, on your demeanor? Would you say that you considered to an extent aromatherapy or how scent affects you in the creation of Culti?
Sure, we start always from like I told you before, we start from food. You know Italian food, how is it? So it's very simple. If you take some bread and some oil, you can create a special combination. Okay, I use the same to do fragrances in Culti. There's no other companies that could do that.
No.
And I've created 16 fragrances, totally different, totally unique.
Well,
So
and something that most people I'm sure don't know about you is when you were initially in the development stages of majority of your fragrances, they happened on your stove.
Sure, sure, sure.
Uh,
It's like if you want to cook every day for your kitchen, you know, you can decide some ingredients. So I have created the basis for you, and you decide how you want to combine. It's just up to you, but never aggressive, intense and delicate, but never aggressive, because we need to be respected in our living. The smell is very important. Consider your family. Everybody lives with you. So it's important that you choose the right fragrance for every moment. And the combination of the fragrances could not be casual, but you need to study that for you.
what works best for you?
The best for me for this moment, I used to the equilibrium. I need some equilibrium. So I use
Okay.
some tea and some tea, like Mare Minerale and tea, and then I use some orange. So where I growing, we staying a lot at home. Now we are looking for sunshine, for energy. So I'm using in my home some bitter orange with some Mare Minerale. This is the salt of the sea. And then I use some rose just to maintain delicate atmosphere. So this combination is just up to me. So, and this is my own path. So while entering my home, I can be welcomed by something that I
You
want to
know it's
take
home
with me.
already.
I always goes all around the world, and I have some cushions, my jackets. I want to take fragrances with me. I want to take my fragrance that comes with me. There's not home fragrances for Culti. There are good fragrances. So consider that the quality of the fragrances is the same that you can use for your skin. So it's a very high level.
Well, because there is no chemicals, so you could ultimately use it on your skin.
Sure, not only that, but also it's important that from now to the future, the world is asking us and the nature is asking us to do the things in the right way. So without not using any more chemical, and using the possibility to do in the very best natural way everything we do. But consider that the fragrance stays with you from all the time.
But one question that we often actually receive is, you know, we're speaking about having diffusers in your home. The reed diffuser itself, if you're trying to understand which size bottle you should be purchasing for a certain square meter room, does it matter which size you purchase, or will the, you know, for example, if you have a large bottle in a small room, will it be more aromatic, stronger? Or if you have a small, or does it stay the same?
I want to make you an example to understand better. It's like the sound. If you want to obtain the right sound in your home, you need to use some speakers, you know?
Yes.
And you need to have like a stereophony. So it depending, you want to have more height, more bass. So it is the same for fragrances, like in the nature. So I want to have a big bottle in a big ambience in my living room with one fragrance. And then in my kitchen, I have another one that is smaller because normally it's a small place. And then another one in the bathroom. But all these fragrances are connected with the Culti link we call mixology. So it's not casual. So in a natural way, when you walk around your home, you smell always a surprise, but it's a surprise that is the right combination of all the essences together, you know, and the dimension of the bottle has not to be casual. So normally we have a manual, it's called Culti in Use, where we explain through also our boutiques, our way to communicate the cultured way to obtain fragrances. Has not to be casual, never.
So to ensure as well that you have the right balance of scents depending on the room.
Depending,
To ensure that it's not overpowering.
Sure. Depending on the room and depending on my feeling. So consider that the right quality in the exclusivity is the possibility to control fragrances. So Culti has a lot of respect of our ambience, of ourselves, because sometimes you want to have an equilibrium. You want to have less fragrances or more fragrances. So with the 99% of other products that copied Culti, you cannot do that because they are so aggressive, so chemicals, you cannot control. So in our way, from 30 years, we try to explain to all our customers how to use in the correct way possible the use of the room reeds and also the spray, because the spray is something that you use immediately. The reeds maintain the quality permanent, so maintain for all the time the quality in your room. But sometimes I need energy, so I use the spray. I use the spray to use it to play sometimes, so the energy can grow. And sometimes I want to use it in my wardrobe, in my drawing, in any place.
I the sheets, the room spray on your sheets. When you freshly made the bed, you spray on the sheets. It's beautiful.
Sure. We divided the collection of the fragrances in three different areas. One is the delicate. So in the delicate area, you can choose, for example, tessuto or the rose. That is wonderful for your fabrics, for your linen. You know, you can use on your bed because maintain the atmosphere, but relaxing you and maintaining an equilibrium. So it's not aggressive. So you'll not be, you know. And then we have the medium fragrances, so you grow with the energy. Maybe we can use in the kitchen. In the kitchen, there are special products that you could mix also with food. So orange and lemon and tea and other. And then we grow again. We go to the energy pure, to the bathroom, with the salts, with the sea, with a lot of other elements that at the same time, when you combine together, you obtain a special product always.
Which I think also, I never considered the concept of putting the scents of the sea in the bathroom, which now that I think of it makes complete sense because that's where you find water.
Yeah, but consider that when I talk about salts, about water, I've created more than 25 years ago, this fragrance is called Mare Minerale. It's exactly the energy of the sea that you can put in a bottle. So you smell the salts, the quality also very early in the morning of the sea, the sand, the sensation is very salt. So immediately give me a lot of energy. What is very nice to use some salt that you combine with some sweet. So maybe you can balance and you use a big bottle of salts that called Mare Minerale and another small bottle of tea. So the equilibrium with the energy. You know, it's just up to you. So you decide which energy you want to obtain. You want to go to your office, you have to take in your drawing a small bottle of fragrance, and when you arrive in the morning, you have to take a part of your home with you, because the fragrance stays with me. Remember always that there's no home or person. There's a good fragrances or not. And Culti make from all the time good fragrances, because I'm inspired every day by the nature. And the new fragrance that I'm doing will be inspired 100% by the nature. When we go out, when
I
we
think
go
it's so important right now, because majority of us are all confined indoors, and you can feel that something's lacking because you're so disconnected from nature majority of the time. So the ability to bring nature back into your space, I think, is such a beautiful concept.
Yes, we need time. This drama help us to understand a lot of things. So now we need to take time, really. We need to sit down a little bit to connect in a different way, not only through internet, but also in a personal way. We need to talk about, again, the new aspect of the life that we need to use again. And the nature, if you see the nature, if you hear the nature, if you look at the nature, you understand immediately. If you sit down and you smell what's happened, immediately you understand that there's a big and wonderful world around us. And this is the best inspiration you can have.
So would you say that moving through this period, one of the most important things that you're doing is spending as much time outdoors as possible and trying to reconnect with the basics?
Yes, it's important. We don't have to consider just fashion and mode. So we need sometimes to understand who we are before, okay? We need, we are totally different. It's for that I employed 30 years to create different fragrances that you can combine, because there's not exactly your fragrance, but it's just up to you, the possibility to create your own path in your home, in your life. And for that, you can imagine 30 years to create just 30 years to create just 16 fragrances is a lot of time. You can imagine how big work we have around the company. But this is the only way to maintain in the future the leader in Culti as a leader in our field, because it's the only company that could do all these things in that way.
Well, but also to ensure that it maintains such an exquisite level of quality, and also that I think that you've created each fragrance in such a way that they are harmonious with each other, which I don't think there exists any other brand like this, where you can pair any two together to create something entirely new.
Carrie, I told you before that it takes 5 years to do one good fragrance. Okay, so you can imagine how it's possible to make a fragrance in one day in front of you when someone says this is just for you, because we don't consider the quality, the connection to all the other fragrances, the safety, the possibility to live in our family with also our baby, our daughter together, So if it's not the right way to produce fragrances, it's not enough to put some liquid and some sticks in a bottle. People think like that, but this is not. We demonstrate for 30 years that with all the guys in our company, every day, we are producing in the same way, in the same quality, all we have now in our boutique, in our stores.
Which I think this is also a very nice lesson, that in general, we need to take this time to slow down, to think about how things should be done, and to ensure that they are being done that way going forward.
Yeah, I suggest to everybody to really go a little bit more slow, and to understand people around us, and trying to connect ourselves with some flavors, with some smells, to look at the nature that we have around. And this is important for us, because if we want to start again, and we want to create in the new world that now is we have a new world, we have a big opportunity now to write down a new story, okay? But we can have the best results only if we change totally our way to see the world. Anyways, in 2 months, everybody starts to do again the same things, and we fall down again.
And we go back to
So,
what was before, which would be
yeah,
very, very sad given
yeah.
that we have this opportunity.
And through Culti, I'm trying for more than 30 years to connect people in the right way, using the senses and the smell in this case in the best way possible. Using time for you, dedicate your time not only to choose one bottle, but to understand which kind of fragrance you want to have for you. Because the smell of the right fragrance can create for you a smile or a problem, you know, and this is very, very important. So, and you need to change. You need to, it's not always the same. It's for that I don't suggest to use one fragrance for your home, but minimum 2 or 3, and changing during the seasons, okay? And for the delicate line or all the others.
Now, you've spoken about how, you know, the first fragrance took 5 years to develop. Can you speak a bit more about how you went into that developmental process?
It's
How you
very,
developed it?
yeah, consider that it's very nice way, because normally I told you that we start from food, no? You know, in that case, coming from Italy, we have a lot of ingredients that come from South Italy, for example. So talking about Aramara, I remember that we have created this special fragrance, which is one of the best in all over the world. Has been created in Sicily with one of my friends in the kitchen. So we take some bitter orange, all the part of the orange, and we cook all the orange. We have created a special product, and then from that, through the synthesis, we transform the natural product in the best fragrances you can obtain, without passing from laboratory. No chemical, no laboratory. And that's the way. But it takes a lot of time, you know. And
so when you're in that development process, would you say that you also allow yourself the opportunity to play quite a bit?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Because I'm sure for most, you know, now I feel like, especially in this day and age, a lot of people are struggling with the concept of slowing down to that degree, of focusing on one thing to create one perfect thing over the course of 5 years. I'm sure for a lot of people that is a difficult concept to wrap their heads around. As you're going through this development stage in creating Amara, and you're saying that, you know, it takes the course of 5 years, what, I guess, challenges do you face when you're going through the process of developing a fragrance like this?
I like to tell you that we cannot say that we have perfect products, but it's a perfect concept, because on that we establish all our way to be different from all the other copies of the world. Because the 16 fragrances, for example, the orange that I have created 25 years ago, now has to be combined with the last one that has been created 2 years ago. So we need to connect all the 16 fragrances, 2, 3, 4, 10, all together, to make people have the possibility that when they mix, they cannot make mistake. They cannot have problem in safety, in all these things. So the work is so big. And so for a small company like Culti to have this big work behind for 30 years, that's the way for which today we are considering the company to follow for fragrances. We follow the nature, all the other companies follow Culti.
I agree. I agree. You're speaking about nature and this slower process. Would you say that this mentality of how you created Culti ensures the longevity of the company?
Sure. This is, I'm sure for that, because the coherence is the right word that every company of success could maintain. And my guarantee, I'm the oldest in the company, so I'm trying to connect all the people that work with me, and I love everybody in my company. It's a big family, okay? And everybody work with the same passion. I am trying to give this passion, this energy, this idea, no compromise. Nothing has to be casual, never. That's the only way to obtain this. And for that, consider that the best fragrances that we sell are the fragrances that I have created 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't tell you that, maybe that the last one and the old one is the same, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the connection that is a very complicated way to use this way. Is the
Mm-hmm.
respect of all the story and the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people want to do new things and they forget what you have done yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
This is not my way. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to connect all the guys in the company. Everybody works in the same line. For people, for customers, for product, our family try to connect always in the same way, in the
Mm-hmm.
same high quality that is Italian way to do things. And this is for me, it means be different and be unique.
Well, I think though too, Italy is a great country to look at when we're especially going through a period like this, where you can see that there are a multitude of companies that have lasted through world wars, through famine, through a lot of hardships. This concept of focusing on, instead of rush, create something new, instead of being very sure of the concept of your priorities and taking the time to do things properly ensures that you can move through a period like this and still come out the other end successful.
Carrie, for a long time, the world tried to make us understand that deluxe is a very expensive product.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion from the beginning is that deluxe is the time, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
and the second is the exclusivity. So the possibility to have product that is just for me.
Mm-hmm.
We invested all our energy in Culti to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So to make this happen for every day for you. So the customer of Culti are Culti stays in the best villas in the world, also in the standard apartment. It depends on the culture. So our customer is someone that want smell well, want to have wellness in their living,
Mm-hmm.
that want to take care to the family, to the affect, everything. Take care for him. So this is our way to create the new Lux. And this is also another thing that I suggest to you and all your friends and people that they follow you for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So try to write again the new word Lux. The
Mm-hmm.
Lux is the possibility to be ourselves in
Mm-hmm.
every way, in food, in style, in fashion, in fragrances. But we need to project to do that. You cannot do casual, you know? It
No.
takes time. And we need also to explain to the youngers, to the millennials, that it's not easy, the life. But if you invest energy with
Mm-hmm.
passion and you feel in everything you do,
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of possibility from now. Because now, every time in the story, you know, every time that there's something happening very, very disastrous, like now,
Mm-hmm.
if you have the right way, the right vision to put the mission in act, you can really do something special for the future, for you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big opportunities in every field, but we need ideas. Without
Yes.
idea, you cannot
But
win.
But I agree very much so. One thing that Secret Location has always stood for is responsible production and quality. It's something that's very important to us. We don't see the point of rushing through something to create a product that should be thrown in the garbage, a few months later. It's better to obtain something that was made the right way, that will have a longevity, dependent on what it is, but have a beautiful longevity and have a proper product life. And something that will be enjoyed not for specifically the name brand, but for the piece itself and for the quality.
But the quality always help you to maintain the quality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Always quality in every. Consider that the world is so different. You can imagine China, Japan, Canada, USA, Italy. As regarding Culti, the four fragrances, the best four fragrances all over the world are
Mm-hmm.
the same. And we are so
Interesting.
different. Okay, so consider that this stands in what I told you before. So the quality and the energy and everything is recognized as something really special
Mm-hmm.
every day. And it takes time to do that. what I want to tell you before, it's not possible to do things. Now the millennials want to do things immediately in one day, and they need to fall down, to come back, to fall down, to come back every day, but with an idea, to follow an idea, because there is, you can imagine how many millions of people every day open a bottles with reeds. 50 million people a day all over the world through my idea, through the idea of Culti every day. You can imagine how many family lives and work with this idea. Sure, Culti is the original, is different, but at the same time, we have created a habit for every day for a lot of people, you know.
A
But the
routine, a
idea
ritual to begin the day.
is the idea. So we need ideas, and the ideas could not arrive through internet. The ideas arrive when we connect together in the social way, because we are animal that has been created to stay together, not to stay okay. So
alone.
now we need to come back in the right way, in the correct way, but we need again to stay in relation and to do things together in a new way, not like in the past.
Which I think is a beautiful way of illustrating the fact that human connection is something that can't be replaced by, you know, even for example, this conversation is lovely. It's incredible that I can have a conversation, you know, from Canada with you to Italy, but it's not the same as if we were to be in person.
We cannot say goodbye to technology. We have to invest every day in technology. We have to invest a lot, but it's two lines. One line is the personal line. So there's offline and online. We need to respect the two lines. No compromise on it, okay? What I suggest, we invest a lot also in the company, in energy, in technology, in everything. Now we are transforming the communication in immersive way, digital way, everything. And that's it. But at the same time, please come back and try again to talk, to use your pencil and to draw something sometimes, to write a letter, to understand that there are some elements, very, very simple, that we forget. And now we need again to start from the simple things, simple special things, and also technology and everything beyond us. But don't forget the two lines, and don't use to cross. Maintain the two lines in a very, very high level.
As you say that, what are ways that you are focusing on connecting with your own team, with the other team of Culti?
We have a very, very strong connection, because we every day and every morning we talk about our life, not our product.
Okay.
It's important for people that start again to talk about their single possibility to be different. That's the only way to create new products. In our group, everybody can say something about product, about communication, about all the arguments. And then we together, we arrive always as the best result. It's really big family.
To take everyone's perspective into consideration.
Yeah.
But also allowing people to be who they are, but keeping Culti and your ethos as at the forefront.
Sure.
It's I think something that a lot of people will take a lot from, in understanding that you need to first understand who you are so that you can understand what you're passionate about and what works best for you.
You know, unfortunately, my passion is my work. So
mine too. I understand.
But because my work is done with people that I love, people that every day. Okay, we cannot do success. We cannot have success in another way. Okay, sure. We need to respect all the elements, people that we love, that stays around us. But at the same time, we cannot go out from our home and to go to work. No, we need to stay always concentrated in the new world, in new ideas, in a new way to connect with other people. This is one of the best things in Culti. In Culti, every day we sit down together before start to do every single activities. We talk about who we are and where we are and what we want to go.
Every day.
The mission every day. The mission has to be always very concrete to everybody, not only to me or the other guy, but everybody has to know. This is one of the rules of our success, because everybody in the company know exactly the vision and the mission. And if you ask to everybody in 10 words what Culti is, everybody say the same. For me, it's very important. We need to know exactly who we are, the story, the tradition, okay, all the elements that give the real difference to the companies.
Which, too, I think is very telling, because it shows how healthy your company culture is in moving through even a difficult period like this, that you're able to connect on such a personal level with your team, and that they are a team and a family. I think in general, because of the tradition based in Italy and in Italian culture, there is this very much family orientation within companies. You know, a majority of companies have lunches together, or they spend a lot of time together, not only focusing on work and the jobs that need to be completed.
But we are doing that for a long time from the beginning, because consider that it's really a family Culti. So all the guys are very attracted by the spirit of the company, and this spirit that I'm trying to grow every day, like through my experience, my passion, my way to see the things. You know, it's not easy to work with me, because you know every day I want to do something new, but at the same time the big family of Culti every day stays together and try to work and to do steps in the same way. This is our
in the same
success.
direction.
Yes, same direction always.
When you first began, what were key, I guess, elements or feelings that you wanted your fragrance to evoke? Was there something you wanted to make people feel with the creation of your fragrances and your products?
You know, a lot of people think that you smell fragrances through the nose, but the effect starts from here, from hypothalamus. So is a particular part of our self that transmits the message of the flavor immediately to the heat and then fall down. Okay, for everybody of us, enter one thing that is called memory. The fragrances are strictly related to our memory. So for that, you know, sometimes you like this fragrance, and for me it's not good in this moment. Maybe next week you can accept more, because you change sometimes yourself. Okay, so for that reason, it's important that we consider, before choosing the quality of the bottle, to understand exactly the reaction that I have smelling fragrances. In our place, in our showroom, in our boutique, we dedicate a lot of time with our customer to understand their path, their way to stay in their home, for now and for the future. And then they can decide to buy their bottles or cushions or candles or everything they need. Sometimes in 90% of the case, in other place, happens exactly the contrary. So people buy a bottle because I love this bottle red. Okay, so we cannot sell fragrances before we understand who you are, not what you want, who you are. And through the fragrances, I can understand immediately your character, your way to stay, and your style.
So you would say that the key element or the key focus was first to allow people to understand who they are, and then a way to express it or also live in that environment.
Exactly, is the first.
I know that, of course, Culti is very different in comparison to all other brands, because it doesn't use chemicals. It is very much focused on the raw materials. Would you say that there's anything else that differs you and Culti from other brands that makes Culti so unique? Other than, of course, the interchangeability of the scents together and the quality of the raw ingredients.
So the quality, the way that we produce fragrances is impossible to do it the same way as Culti. Okay.
Okay.
We one thing. The second, we are the original. We have created the first reed bottle, but it's not enough to use not only the shape, because we use, for example, the kind of the liquid with the fragrance is our exclusive. The way that we treat with the steam all these sticks is totally different. It looks is the same, okay, but it's not. And then the possibility to combine all the fragrances through the mixology. These three things could not appear in any other company except Culti. But this is from the beginning, Carrie. It's not now. So it's 30 years. For that, you cannot copy Culti because it takes 30 years.
Takes
So
time.
I'm old, but I don't know if you have so much time to do the same together. Personally, I know exactly what we could have for in the next 5 years in the fragrances. I have in my drawing a lot of ideas, but for the moment, we are concentrated in doing well what we have in our boutique. But you can be sure that we are ready for the future, for fragrances, for everything stays, but every also the new things will arise from the nature.
All inspiration comes from
All
there,
inspiration from there.
which is really beautiful. You were
Yeah.
saying before your favorite fragrance is Mara Minerale, is what it sounds like. You use it quite a bit as the base.
Personally, I'm very attracted by the first one that I've created, that is Terra and Tessuto, okay? That remember me an old story, because all my fragrances start from a real story, okay? That connect me with the memory to come back to that. And then just few ingredients. So now Tessuto and Terra, for example, together could create the balance between a very delicate one with the energy of the south. So the vanilla, and Tessuto could stay together, and now is special for this period. But you know, this is
Would you
mine.
be willing to share one of the stories that inspired one of your scents? You were saying that you have a close tie to each scent and the story of how they were created. Would you be willing to share one of those stories?
But for example, I remember the first pregnancy that I've created is Terra. I remember I was maybe 7 years old. In my old house of the family with my grandfather in front of the fireplace, and I remember he took some part of the mandarin, okay, and he put on the fire, and some part of vanilla. So I remember this flavor fantastic from the fireplace with mandarin, with vanilla that arrived to me. And when I have created this fragrance, and every time I use, I always remember this atmosphere. I close my eyes, and the fragrances put me back at that moment. And this is exactly what's happened in everybody of us when you smell fragrances. So these fragrances are so delicate, so pure, and that you can recognize immediately something that comes to you on the sea, on a cup of tea. When I have created tea, for example, with the leaves of tea, it's like if you go in a big cup of tea and you go inside and you smell. You know, so no compromise. Every fragrance is so special, and transmit to you always a sensation that every day is new. You know, sometimes we want to change, but every day we wake up and we can change our day, but maintaining our soul. So it's for that reason that I don't want to create every day a new fragrance, a new fragrance, a new fragrance. There are companies that are 2, 3 years old that have 100 fragrances in the collection. Me, it takes 30 years to do just 16 fragrances. How is possible? But when I mix and when I taste my fragrances every time, also now after 30 years, I try an emotion that is so high, so big every time, because the fragrance is the magician, and the emotion for us has not to be something just to cover other
Some
things.
other smell, yes.
Yeah.
Which I think is also beautiful for people to consider, more so when they're choosing their fragrances. If there's something in a specific fragrance that makes them recall a beautiful memory from their past. I don't think this is something that usually people picture or think about in the process of choosing a scent.
Yeah, you know, Kerry. Sometimes in your life, maybe you tried to use some fragrances for personal care.
Mm-hmm.
That after maybe a few months, you say, I don't smell anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe okay, and people say, ah, but you are using a lot of fragrance. What's happened? Ah, but I don't smell because
Mm-hmm.
normally the 90% of the fragrances has been created with a very complicated way to do fragrances, a lot of ingredients to obtain
Mm-hmm.
good fragrances, but a lot more very complicated.
Mm-hmm.
In Culti, the new and modern way to do fragrances is with just minimum maximum two ingredients, two.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so simple and so pure that you every day is like if you use tomato and oil for
Mm-hmm.
your life, okay? It's
Mm-hmm.
not like if every day you eat hamburger, you know? Maybe the second day you want to change. But
Mm-hmm.
if you use bread and oil, you use some tomato and basil, so very natural product, you
Mm-hmm.
can use every day. And every day you smell a new flavor, something
Mm-hmm.
new. This is
Mm-hmm.
the emotion of the very simplicity way that Culti use to do their fragrances
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning to now. And also the new fragrances that I'm creating will be in the same way.
Fantastic. I'm very much looking forward to see what you're constructing currently.
Yeah, and when we met together, you will see that our conversation that will be offline will be
Yes.
totally different. So you can smell, you can try, I can create for you your personal path. Okay, so
Perfect.
now I stay in your field and we use the digital way. But next time you come to me.
Perfect. Is
Okay.
there anything else that you would like to impart on our viewers as a message from yourself or from Culti?
Uh, I want to say you thank you because it's a big opportunity. Every time we can talk about Culti for us is a real gift
Mm-hmm.
because it's a real story. You know, we have a lot of story to say to
Mm-hmm.
everybody,
Mm-hmm.
to our younger. And at the same time, I suggest really to use always the senses in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
all the senses. So you try, please try again to 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 see your word.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we forget that we go, we walk, we don't, we look down and we look at the sunshine, at everything we have around. Try
Mm-hmm.
to understand what you are smelling, what you are eating. Now everybody control what there's inside this kind of food.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do the same for fragrances. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to consider that the quality has to be for all the senses. I need to sleep in a good bed. I
Mm-hmm.
need to smell the right fragrances. I need to eat well. I need to sit down and to go a little bit more slowly.
Mm-hmm.
That's my invitation. And
It's a beautiful one. I completely
yeah,
agree.
okay.
Even just to do something simple as to take more time to understand your surroundings, to spend moments just in quiet and understand what is around you.
uh, I I like to lose myself in the nature. That's the only way I can think. So
Mm-hmm.
please try a place and find a place very close to you where you can forget everything and you reset. We need to
Mm-hmm.
reset sometimes, also for the fragrances and for food.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need to reset. And then you
Yes.
can start again. If
Mm-hmm.
you're always involved in our stress, sometimes we cannot understand who we
Mm-hmm.
are first and what we want to do second.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Vision and mission has to
Mm-hmm.
connect. Sometimes
Perfect.
we are not connected on it. Okay.
Agreed. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Alessandro. I really appreciate the time that you spent with us, and I'm sure that all of the viewers that participated as well received a lot of information and value from our conversation.
Thank you, Kerry. When you
Thank you.
want, we are here. Thank you. Bye
Perfect.
bye.
Bye.